Oh, hello.
Hey, sorry to barge in unannounced. Bob from Legal here.
Oh, sure. How can I help you?
I just stopped by Distro, and they handed me this list of some cards they have some questions about. I looked over it, and I thought I would stop in here to get a sense of how you're feeling. Is everything okay? You're lucid? Yeah?
I don't...
Right. Yeah, I asked because of some of the names on here. Let me just walk you through some of the upcoming cards slated for print. They told me you are releasing a card called Regenesis God Deuteronomion. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, cool name, right? I thought we'd just swipe some of the mysticism from the Bible.
Right, yeah, okay. So we spent 20 years during the Satanic Panic trying to convince suburban moms that this isn't a game about blaspheming. We're not going to open the door for a bunch of Mormons to sue us, okay?
Well...
Right, that's not the only card I'm worried about. Here's a spell, Skin a Cat. Do you think that's wise to put on a card that children are going to see? A command to commit a crime?
Oh, don't worry about that. It's just a cute idiom we slapped onto a removal spell.
Yeah, no, I get that it's a removal spell. It's made very clear by the art, which is... where did you get this? This is a photograph. Okay, yeah, moving down the list, we have, Evil Hero Epstein. What do you want me to say about that, exactly?
Oh, well, it's not the same Epstein.
Not the same, okay, yeah. No, you understand that we cannot call anyone named Epstein a hero right now, right?
Evil hero, evil hero.
Oh, well, in that case, Elemental Hero Ravedactyl. Are you trying to fuck me? Is that what's happening here?
I thought we'd throw him a bone.
Oh, yeah, and here's my favorite. A spell card called I am going to the of the United States, whose effect text is a step-by-step guide on procuring and printing a ghost gun! Are you fucking with me?
I don't,
You understand that if someone calls this fucking card off cross-out designator, it's gonna be your ass!
I'll be honest, all of these have already gone to print. Except for the Regenesis one.
Alright. At least change the name of the Regenesis card. Something like Regenesis Lord, but not so stupid. See you next week.
Alright. Oh, Regenesis Lord sounds fine. Now, how do I...
Good afternoon, Jank enthusiasts! I'm MBT, and this is 10-Minute Testing. Aelin is upon us! Yu-Gi-Oh's newest pack, Alliance Insight, is just a few days away, and it promises to transform the metagame from Ryziel and Malice to Malice and Ryziel. We'll get to those, don't worry. But first, I'd like to spend today talking about a series of monsters perfect for those who don't have the money for a spreadsheet or the brain cells for a combo deck. Presenting Regenesis. So here's the list. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course the card by card.
But first,
this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck is a one-stop shop for all things Yu-Gi-Oh! They're responsible for the pack opener that makes series like Progression possible. They've got strategy articles for those looking to flesh out their fundamentals. They're the most complete repository of deck lists and results from regionals and YCSs online. And they've also got cube and draft infrastructure that's finally seeing use now that Yu-Gi-Oh! Players have come to the light of Limited. There's a good chance that any Yu-Gi-Oh! Content you see on YouTube has Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck's many tendrils somewhere within its DNA. So why not go to the source and improve your game, draft with friends, or just see what 11-year-olds are playing in their Blue Eyes decks this month? Head on over to YGOPRODECK.com. Now back to the video. So with that, let's rankle with Regenesis. Regenesis is a series of monsters that look like the platonic ideal of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Baddie. I mean, look at Archfiend. He's like a combination between Armed Dragon, the Cyberdarks, and one of those pictures they show dementia patients to ask them to name something. Each of these monsters' suffixes relates to a book of the Old Testament in Biblical Hebrew, which is awesome. But like most monsters that have Bible stuff tacked on because it sounds cool, it didn't survive the localization process. Rest in peace, Regenesis God Deuteronomion, and welcome stateside, Regenesis Lord. Linguistics aside, what do these monsters do? Well, each of these monsters is an impressively simple one. They only really do a single thing. But they do it well, and they do it attached to a big body. They support, a la Monarchs, not just their own archetype, but monsters with 2,500 attack or defense. This is a hell of a coincidence, as during the last few years, 2500 has been the cutoff point for a half dozen self-contained simplistic engines, which means that this might just be the best capstone possible for the sort of oops all engines decks doing their best to beat hyperlinear strategies like Mitsurugi Raziel. Now, before we do the card by card, a note about the list you're seeing in front of you. I am under no illusions about this being the best build online. We're on strikingly limited non-engine here. What I'm aiming to do is show off as many of Regenesis's partners as possible. A list you'd take to a YCS would probably issue one or more in the name of 12 hand traps and board breakers. What's more, these aren't the only partners you can play. Everything from an expanded Bestial lineup to Primite Fiendsmith featuring a 2500 vanilla is fair game. This is just to give you an impression. You'll have to deck build yourself. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First up, Regenesis Archfiend. This can be specialed by revealing another monster in your hand with 2500 attack or defense. It can only be special summoned this way once per turn, and if this card is normally special summoned, you can add a Regenesis from your deck or banishment to your hand except itself. During your opponent's end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, it can return to the hand. Next up is Regenesis Sage. If a monster with 2500 original attack and defense is on the field, it can be special summoned, and you can, when your opponent activates a card or effect, send another Regenesis card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard to negate the activation and destroy that card. Just like the last one, if it's in your graveyard because it was sent there the same turn, it can come back to your hand. One copy of Regenesis Warrior, which, if a monster with 2500 original attack or defense is on the field, can be special summoned from the hand, and can be tributed as a quick effect to target a monster your opponent controls and return it to the hand. It cycles itself as well. And then finally, Regenesis Lord. This can't be normal summoned or set. It has to be special summoned by banishing a face-up monster you control with 2500 original attack and defense. You can only special summon this guy once per turn this way, and if special summoned, you can set a Regenesis spell trap from your deck. It gains 2500 attack during the battle phase only, and it does piercing. After that, we are on the Kashtiras. Unicorn has 2500 attack and is also just a fantastic self-contained engine. We're playing 3 copies of Fenrir, and then the Bestials, Druisworm, Magnamut, and Baldrake, all 2500s, as well as the Bestial Lubellion, for which we are playing a single copy of Branded Regained. Finally, we are playing Dogmatica Ecclesia the Virtuous and Dogmatica Fleur-de-Lis the Knighted, another 2500, importantly. Additionally, these cards play okay with the archetype because Nadir's Servant is pretty high value, as there is a lock you will have to play around. Let's get to the spells. First up is Regenesis. Just Regenesis, I guess. Take a Regenesis monster from your deck, either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard, or if you already control a Regenesis, add a monster with 2500 attack and defense from your deck to your hand instead. And if this card is in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, it can be banished to target a Regenesis monster in your graveyard and special summon it. We're playing 3 copies of Regenesis Code, which can special a Regenesis from your deck, but send it to the graveyard during your opponent's end phase, and you are locked from special summoning from the extra until the end of the next turn after this card resolves. That's important because it's a quick play. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish it from your graveyard to target a banished Regenesis and special summon it. Finally, we have got 3 copies of Nadir's Servant, 3 copies of Wraith Soth, 1 Birth, 1 Regained, and triple Pot of Extravagance. For traps, we are on 2 copies of Regenesis Birth, which allows you to send a Regenesis from your deck to the graveyard, then target a face-up monster your opponent controls to change it to face-down defense position. During your opponent's turn, it can be sent from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard to special summon as many Regenesises with different names as possible from your hand, graveyard, or banishment, but send them to the graveyard during the end phase. That's right, this trap card is Foolish Burial, Book of Moon, and Return from the Different Dimension. After that, we've got 1 Dogmatic Punishment and a Skill Drain. They are 2500s after all. In the extra, we've got an IP, an SP, and a Tri-Brigade Arms Bussy Phallus 2 in order to send a Garura. We've got 2 copies of Elder Entity Entis and a Maylong in terms of profitable sends off of Dogmatica Punishment, though don't forget Logic Aggregator. We're playing a Chaos Angel, a New Zeus, a double Typhon, and some 7s as well. In the side, we've got 3 copies of Lancia, 3 copies of Fuelos, 3 copies of Ultimate Slayer, 2 Lightning Storms and a Feather Duster, and 3 Dragon's Mind, which, when a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated and you control a 2500 original attack or defense monster, negates an activation, destroys the card, and if in your graveyard, can be reset if you pay 2500 life points. So with that, let's check out some games. Our first match is up against Tomb Keeper. God, I hate that I'm forced to say that. We're going first, and our hand looks pretty good. It's mostly Regenesis stuff, but we do also have the Wraith Soth. We will lead with that. We're going to grab a copy of Unicorn, then special out the Unicorn, activate the effect, and that's going to grab from deck to hand a copy of Birth. From here, we will go for the Regenesis Archfiend and activate the effect in order to grab a copy of Regenesis, which we will now activate. We'll use that effect in order to grab ourselves a copy of Lord, and then afterwards we're going to make the Lord activate the effect of the Lord and set a copy of Regenesis Birth. Finally, let's go for Warrior, link off for IP Masquerena, and Birth back this copy of Unicorn. After that, we're just going to go ahead and set one of the codes and and pass back to our opponent. They're going to begin with a copy of Pot of Extravagance in main phase 1. That's fine, no big deal. They'll draw a couple of cards and go Anubis into a copy of the Man. Unicorn here is going to grab a card from the extra deck. They're going to normal summon the Man with the mark. Then afterwards, they are going to go ahead and activate Temple of the Kings. I think this is a decent Masquerena, especially because we've already cashed in the Unicorn. We'll SP banish the Temple of the Kings. They go for Treasures of the Kings, which has the same name, but doesn't allow them to activate traps the first turn. So we'll just go for the code. They'll go for the Temple, and then afterwards, they will go for the effect of their Merciless Scorpion. They get to go to the battle phase, but we can Warrior to bounce that sucker, and they don't even get over the SP. Then at end step, we're going to go for the Regenesis Birth and send a copy of Archfiend in order to book. We'll cycle back the Archfiend and cycle back the Warrior and cycle back the Sage as well. We'll draw for turn, and we should just be able to plop them onto the field at this point. Let's go ahead and begin with a copy of Archfiend. They will go for Apophis the Serpent and chain Apophis the Swamp Deity, so it does negate the Regenesis Archfiend. No big, no big. Afterwards, we can just go ahead and levy out the Sage and the Warrior in our hand before activating the effect of the Birth. They'll go for another Swamp Deity. We will negate it with the Sage, and from this position, we have a lot of attackers. We'll get over the Apophis the Serpent. They grab Old Apophis to their hand, and then we'll walk over the remainder. They trigger Man with the mark, but we will activate Regenesis Warrior to put it back in hand and get in for 29, 29, and code for lethal courtesy of another Regenesis Archfiend. Set rotation, though. Imagine if it set it face up. So that's how the deck performs on the play, but what does it do on the draw? Well, shockingly more. It turns out the ability to leverage these 2,500 attack point bunguses as beat sticks is a big deal. Our opponent for game 2 is on Kashtira Fiendsmith, and they are leading with Kashtira and going Fiendsmith. Down comes Lacrima. I miss this card so much, having played so much Master Duel of late. They're going to equip it. We'll activate Fiendsmith Engraver into Baldrake, banishing the Engraver. Afterwards, they will go ahead and make a copy of Necroquip Princess and pass. Looks kind of weak, but looks can be deceiving, especially when in draw you can activate the effect of Lacrima to go for Requiem. We'll go for the Pot of Extravagance at the start of main phase 1. Of course, they have the first opportunity now to activate Requiem in order to get Lacrima online and send a copy of Paradise to the graveyard. From here, we can activate Druid's Worm to banish the last Light Fiend and turn that offline before going to Dear Servant to send an Entis, and using the effect of the Entis in order to pop the Crossout Designator. We will Regenesis in order to grab ourselves a copy of Archfiend, and then we'll summon out the Archfiend, activate the effect, and walk into an Infip. Now, with a complete understanding of what is at risk, we will go Lord, and let me do some quick math here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we can bring out the Warrior. They'll go for Paradise in order to send a Fiendsmith, and we'll go to combat. Let's walk over 1 with Piercing, walk over 2, walk over 3, and we didn't even have to fall victim to Nibiru. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. We're going second, and our opponent is on what else but Malice. Get excited to hear that a lot in the upcoming format. One of the most frustrating cards in this format is backup Adagnister, but coming in a close second has got to be Dominus Impulse. Wizard Adagnister next in order to bring back this copy of White Rabbit to go into a copy of Red Ransom trigger in order to grab the field spell, fire off the TB11 to banish the Red Ransom, and bring a copy of Dormouse to the field, activating the effect of the Red Ransom and banishing a March Hare. Woof. From here, we can activate the March Hare effect in the Banish Zone to return it to the hand, then afterwards use the March Hare effect in hand in order to banish the White Rabbit, who hasn't yet activated her own effect to summon from Banish. From here, they're going to go to Splash Mage. Splash Mage bring back Dormouse, and afterwards link off for a White Binder. White Binder can banish the Dormouse, who also has not used their Banish effect. They'll summon it to their side of the field, then activate the effect to grab a Chessy Cat, and the Chessy Cat's effect to cycle this copy of Malice in Underground. Okay, from here, they're going to go into an Accode Talker Adagnister, summon back the Red Ransom, White Binder effect, grab a GWC, set 2, and pass. Horrifying stuff. Okay, well, we're going to begin with a copy of Pressure Planet Razoth, which eats an Ash. That's great news because we already have all the Kashtira's in our grip. We will go for the Bestial Lubellion, then fire off a Fenrir. We'll go to the battle phase and try and use the Fenrir to contest the Accode. They will Imperm. Okay, that's rough. At least maybe the skill drain will resolve now. We'll go to main phase 2, activate Magnemite. They will flip Dominus Impulse. Oh my goodness. And we'll go for a Typhon. Set 1 and pass. GWC here is going to allow them to bring back the White Rabbit, and they will draw for turn. From this position, they will go for the White Binder. We'll flip skill drain. They will Accode, and let's just go next. So it's time for game 2, and oh, look at that. Oops, all non-engine. Okay, well, a March Hare and a Dream might get him there. They're going to lead with a Fualos. No big deal. We do not intend to perform any summons from extra. We'll go Archfiend, set 3, and activate a Regained. Good luck to our opponent. They draw another Fualos. Hilarious. They'll pass turn here. We'll go for Code. They will go for Impulse, and we will go for the set copy of Dragon's Mind. The joys of being on the play. We will go for the Regenesis Archfiend, and we'll activate the effect of the Dragon's Mind as well in order to set it, in order to grab a Lord. Finally, Regenesis Archfiend will cycle itself. We should be able to lock this one up. They're going to go Fualos as early as possible. No big deal. We'll summon Regenesis Archfiend, activate its effect in order to grab Sage, special the Sage, and make Lord. Lord effect here is going to be able to set a copy of Code. We'll go to the battle phase. That's 25-5-25. Should be good for game. One thing I love about this deck is you can really punish individuals who have stumbled onto too much non-engine. So Unfortunately, in Game 3, it looks like they have just enough. They're going to go from Lingaribo into Wizard Adagnister to bring back the March Hare, into Splash Mage target March Hare into Red Ransom. This is a really sus line, but unfortunately, it is going to be able to do it. The Underground being deployed here instead of fodder for the Chessy Cat, so they can activate the Dormouse and banish a copy of White Rabbit. White Rabbit to their side of the field, they'll activate the effect of the White Rabbit, and they're going to set from deck a copy of TB11. They'll flip up the TB11, banishing the Red Ransom for a Chessy Cat. Then the Red Ransom can trigger, taking 9, summoning it, and activating its effect to banish another copy of March Hare who has not yet used their effect to return to the hand. From here, they're going to make a White Binder effect to banish the Chessy Cat to summon itself, and then afterwards they can go ahead and activate Chessy in order to cycle the March Hare for a couple of cards. They'll go for Code Talker and AI Connect as well. They'll go for a copy of White Binder into GWC, set 2 and pass. Let's see if we can make it happen. So first and foremost, we're Ultimate Slaying. We're going to send Bussy Phallus in order to get rid of Code. We'll draw a card off of this Garura, and oh, not Droll. Okay, Ultimate Slayer number 2. Down goes White. We'll go into Kashtira Fenrir. We'll activate the effect targeting the Red Ransom. They will Imperm once again, but at least we do get over it. From this position, we could go for Code. They will Impulse. God, everything and everything. We'll just set a copy of Regenesis Birth, and GWC might be all she wrote. GWC here for White Rabbit. White Rabbit can set a copy of MTP-07. When it gets back to their turn, they can, of course, just go ahead and flip up the MTP-07, and we're done. So we're back with the deck, and, oh, they're good. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1. The Regenesis cards do a lot. They're huge 2,500 attack point bodies you can easily throw out so you can OTK fast. They give you access to a Negate, a Bounce, and a Book of Moon. And Regenesis Birth gives you a Soul Charge if you need to bring back your interruptions. The Regenesis cards also all recur themselves if they're sent to the graveyard on your opponent's turn, so you can sometimes go +3 or more after using your interactions, which gets you easy access to huge amounts of damage on the crackback. 2, they pair well with things like Kashtira. Unicorn has 2,500 attack, and the Bestials too for the same reason. If your opponent has any 2,500 attack point monsters, importantly, you can also just summon the Regenesis cards for free. And 3, the engine is extremely splashable. While we're playing a lot of cards, you could play 5 to 8 of them total and get the full benefit of other decks, which is likely their use case. And the cons. 1, the Regenesis engine can produce some awkward hands where you don't have access to another 2,500 and Archfiend ends up dead. These are few and far between, but they do happen. 2, there is a lock out of the extra deck until your next turn if you use the E-Telly, which can cause some really limiting plays. And 3, it actually kind of has problems dealing with monsters above 2,500 attack. This means you usually have to be relying on Regenesis Warrior or Fenrir if you can't access Lord. Overall, while a heavier Regenesis engine might not be good this format, the cards have a notable amount of potential as a splash, or maybe even as one engine in a competent control deck built for the expected Malice meta. So that's that. Thanks so much for watching. These 10-minute testings are made possible by, and occasionally suggested by, my patrons, some of whom have paid a fair amount of money to be mentioned at the end of the episode. Here they are: Elena Tincher, Alex Perea, Allison Elliott, Ally, Anthony S. Sierri, APK, Burly Tier 0, Brett Henry, Cameron Noer, Cool Name, Damon O'Neill, Dark Rebel XYZ, Derpin Dragon, DJ Elefante, Emiliano Deverio, NB Adams, Fabrizio Petroli, FPS Lord Derp, Garrett Ran, Hergalicious, Night Mary, Legal Rights, Luis Hernandez, Lullaby of Souls, Matthew M. DeRezzo, MBT Play Madolce, Mike Carlotti, N54 Lionheart, Nacho Gonzalez, Pombo, Project Mercury, Raymond GGEZ, Rohan Doge, Rose Lapine, Serpentax, Shelby Piet, Shifter.mp8, Sly Ninja 43, Soul CLG, Troy Says By Erasure is Gay, Who's Nick, Wonder Waffle, and Yuki Kazami. Couldn't have done it without you.